NBC Radio News, I'm Dick Bertel. President Bush and Secretary of State Baker will look closely at the Iraqi acceptance of a UN resolution calling for a formal end to the Gulf War when the two meet later today in Houston. Correspondent Peter Maer is with the President.
The President and the Secretary are expected to have a formal response to the Iraqi action, but even before officials see the fine print of Iraq's letter to the UN, they're shaking their heads, rejecting Iraq's call for an immediate lifting of sanctions. The White House insists those tough sanctions will stick until Iraq agrees to destroy its chemical weapons and pay war damages to Kuwait.
Tomorrow, Bush meets with Mexico's president to discuss a trilateral trade agreement involving Mexico, Canada, and the U.S. Secretary Baker heads to the Mideast, where he'll get a first-hand look at the plight of thousands of Kurdish refugees massed along the Turkish border. UN Secretary General Perez de Cuellar is proposing a demilitarized zone along the Iraq-Kuwaiti border. This is NBC Radio News.
It felt like each time it took me longer and longer to stop. Just a little farther, just a little farther. Pretty soon, I was afraid that one time I'd go too far.
Every stop can become a panic when your car's brakes are worn. So see your Goodyear certified auto service retailer for an expert brake job performed by the best trained technicians in the business.
Goodyear? Best stop I made all month.
Good tires, good service, good people. Goodyear.
Hi, $49.99 here. You know, I've always been a pretty good price tag, but Sears just made me an incredible price because they just put me, $49.99, on an AT&T answering system 1304. Why, it's got one-touch playback, and you can get your messages from any touch-tone phone. Get the AT&T answering system 1304 for just me, $49.99. Save $10 during AT&T days at Sears Brand Central, the brand you want at the store you trust. This is a proud moment for a price my size. Sale ends April 20th. So proud.
While the world agonizes over conditions facing fleeing Kurds along the Iraq-Turkey border, appalling conditions exist in southern Iraq as well. British Red Cross official Renee Nancola says there are many health problems to contend with due to foul water and sewage.
In many of the cities that I visited, we saw sewage lying in the streets to a depth of about a foot. And we saw children taking water from canals and from rivers that were obviously contaminated. And I think our main fear now is that there's going to be an outbreak of waterborne diseases.
Infant mortality in the U.S. fell 6% in 1990, the biggest dip in 10 years. National Center for Health Statistics Director for Analysis, Dr. Joel Kleinman, was asked what's most responsible for the decrease.
It looks as if about half of the decline is due to a 30% reduction that we've seen in mortality from respiratory distress syndrome, which is a disease that results from premature delivery of babies whose lungs are not yet mature enough to breathe.
The Atlantis shuttle astronauts have been busy today preparing for the release of the Gamma Ray Observatory from the cargo bay tomorrow morning. The 31-foot-long observatory will circle the Earth for at least 2 years, recording radiation that is the most energetic in the universe, but invisible from Earth. Investigators so far have few clues into the cause of yesterday's plane crash that took the life of former Senator John Tower. You're listening to NBC Radio News.
If your kids have reading problems, any kind of reading problems, why not try Hooked on Phonics, the cassette program that's helped hundreds of thousands of people to read, from preschoolers to adults. Kids love the musical format, and adults can teach themselves to read without any help or embarrassment. Let Hooked on Phonics be the answer to your reading problems. Call 1-800-ABCDEFG, 1-800-ABCDEFG.
I feel like I have a mask on and I want to rip it off.
It's like a fist at the top of my nose.
My sinus pain lasts all day long.
I want to take the top of my head off and get it all out.
Introducing Drix Oral Sinus, the only sinus medicine that takes sinus pain away right away and keeps it away for up to 12 full hours. And for 12 hours, Drix Oral Sinus relieves the pressure and congestion that causes the pain.
The people who make Drix Oral Sinus really understand sinus pain.
New Drix Oral Sinus. Use only as directed.
The death toll has now reached 56 in the wreck of a Cuban passenger train traveling from Havana to the eastern city of Guantanamo. More than 200 are injured. Reports say local people rushed to donate blood for the crash victims. Most of the nation switches to daylight saving time tomorrow by pushing the clock ahead 1 hour. The change continues until October 27th, when we can all get back that lost hour of sleep. I'm Dick Bertel, NBC Radio News.